Welcome to Data Decides, myself OMKAR PAWAR, and we are back with another insightful video. You already know that we can use list, set, tuples, dictionaries and even strings inside a for loop. But you know why is that? It is because of magic methods. Sometimes we don't know how many iterations we are going to need. So it is basically like we are going from 0 to infinity. Do you think is it even possible for a computer to calculate that much amount? Hell no, it is definitely not. You know, one time I was loading 1 GB of data. At that time, what happened? My laptop went crazy. My cursor was not working, my keyboard was not working anymore, and there was only one solution that I had at that time, that was nothing but to restart my laptop. So is there any other way to do this more memory efficient way? No need to fear when I am here. Let's tackle this issue together and let's start with the video. If you are following our Python for Data Science series, then you definitely know what it means by to iterate over something. To let me show you what it means. So it means that we can create a list and we can iterate over it inside a for loop. So let me show you how we can do that. So I am creating a my list with elements 1, 2, 3 and 4. I think that is enough for our quest. So what we will do, we will use this list inside a for loop and we will iterate over it. For I in my list, and then what I will do, I will simply print all the elements inside the list. So what is happening here exactly? What we are doing is that we are traversing through this list and we are getting all the elements one by one. So this is nothing but what is a iterable is. Can you tell me some other names of the iterables that we can use inside a for loop? I definitely know that you can do that. If you have following our Python for Data Science video series in the YouTube, then you definitely know that. So what we will do now, I will show you some other methods to find out exactly if something is iterable or not. So to know that if something is iterable or not, what you can do is that you can use dir function from Python and you can simply add that object inside it and it will show you some magic methods. Literally I told you that there are some magic methods that gives it ability to do these iterations. So what is that method that gives the ability? So that method is nothing but this iter method, that this magic method, iter method, it is also called as a dunder method, alternative to magic method. This gives our list ability to iterate over its elements. Now let us see what are the iterators are and how we can create one. So there is a simple way to create an iterator, is that by using a built-in iter function. So let's create iterator from our list. So let's see how we can do that. So what we do, we use the iter function from Python and inside that we simply pass our iterable object. So right now my iterable object is my list and I am passing it inside the iter. So let's see what we get as an output. So it is returning us an object. Now what I will do, I will store this object inside one variable called as a my iter. So let's create. So let's see what it can do and what are its capabilities and how it is different from iterable. So what an iterator is, that what iterator does, instead of giving all the values one by one, it gives you the value ones at a time. So how you can do that? So to do that, it have one method, it is called as next method. So how we can use it is that we simply call the next method and inside that we pass our object, iterator object, and when we run this cell, it will give us all the values one at a time. If I run it right now, I am getting 1 as my output. If I run it several times till all the values end, so there are only 4, I only have values till 4, and if I click it again, what will happen, it is going to give me stop iteration exception. So why it is giving me an exception? It is because there are no more elements to move to. So this is the end for the list. Similar to iterables, you can also use that dri function on the my iterator. Let's see what happens when we use it. So dri my iter and let's see what output we get. So this time what we get, there is also similar to iterable, there is a iter method inside this also, but there is one additional method that is called as next method that makes it special and it becomes iterator from an iterable. And this is not the only thing that you can do with an iterator. You can create your own custom iterators. Let's see how you can do that. To create an custom iterator, what we have to do is that we have to create one class. So let's create one class and let's name it as a my iterator. And what we will do, we will initiate this class init by using the special init method. And what we will need inside that is the one iterable object from user. So I will write it here and I will insert it inside self.data equal to data. And what we will need is that we will need one index to track. So I will set that index as a 0 right now. So after that, what we need is that one iter method. As I told you, we need to create an iterator, we need an iter method as well as one next method. So inside that iter method, what we will do, by using this iter method, we will simply return the object itself. Okay, just like that, we will simply return the object. And by using the next method, what we will do, first we will check the condition for the index. If our self.index is greater than or equal to length of our self.data. So if our length, if it is less than length, then it will still continue and it will give us remaining values at that particular indexes. If our index crosses the length of data, then it should raise stop iteration exception. And if it does not raise any exception, then what we want to do is that we want to fetch out that value for that particular index. So what we will do, we will create one variable called as a value. And what we will do, from our self.data, from our data at that particular index, self.index, we will fetch out that value and we will save it inside that value variable. And after saving it inside a value variable, what we have to do is that we have to increase that self.index by 1 each time it is going to happen. So we will increase that by 1, and at the end what we will do, we will simply return our value. So let's cross the fingers and let's hope that our code is going to run without any error. So I have created my iterator class. This is my custom iterator. So what I will do, I will create an object. So that object is going to be, let's say, my iter2 or my custom iter equal to, I will say, my iter, and inside that I will pass the same data as my list. And let's see what happens. And we have to check what is our my custom iterator is that. So my custom iterator is also an object, just like the iter function. We are also getting an object here. And what will happen if I use the next method on this? So my custom iterator, and let's see if it is going to give us all the values one at a time. So we are getting 1. Congratulations, our code is working just fine. Let's see what happens when we are going to exceed the limit of our data. So it is also raising stop iteration exception. So we are good to go. We have successfully created our custom iterator. What is happening inside this code is simply is that we are generating one init method here, and we are getting the data, iterable object from the user. We are setting one index to be 0, and after that inside the iter we are returning our object, and inside the next we are checking if our length of the data and index is not, our index is not crossing length of the data, and if it does, it will raise and stop iteration error. If there is no exception, what will happen is that we will get the value from our data at that particular index and store it inside a value. We will increase the index by 1 and we will return that stored value. So it's as simple as that. Still it looks bit complicated, isn't it? So don't worry, there is one special type of iterator and that is called as a generator. So how this works and how you can create a generator, let's see that. Creating a generator is as simple as creating an function. So let's create one function. So that function is going to be my generator, and that inside that we will provide one iterable data, and we will use that data to iterate inside a for loop for I in data. And then instead of writing return keyword, what we will use one special keyword. That keyword is yield. So what this keyword will do, we will see in a few minutes. So what will happen now, let's run our cell and our code is executed successfully. What happened here is that we have successfully created a special type of iterator that is called as a generator. What happens is that we in here inside a generator, it creates values on the fly. So we will create our object inside mygen. I will pass the data my list inside as a data inside mygen, and let's see what happens. So it is also giving us one object, and now we have to store this object inside. Let's say I create one more variable mygen. Okay, no problem, mygen, and I will pass the my list again, and I have created my generator successfully. So inside mygen, what I will do, I will use the next method on mygen, and let's see what results we are going to get. So as expected, we are getting all the elements one at a time, and when all the elements are done, there are no more elements, it is going to raise stop iteration exception. So what is exactly difference between generator and iterator? So generator gives all the values on the fly. It is very memory efficient, but on the other hand, iterators, it calculates all the values at a time and it then gives you its result one at a time. So iterators are not that much memory efficient compared to generators, but if you want more flexibility, then iterator is your choice. But if you want something more memory efficient and more simpler, just 3 lines of code, right? If you want something simpler and more memory efficient, then generator is your choice to go.